It's another beautiful segment of Daybreak Africa where we ask questions to get individual opinion on a particular subject matter. I am Bidemi Moses, and today we'll be talking about substance abuse and how we can combat illicit drug in the society. And my guest for today is the Chief Superintendent of Narcotics, covering Ileoluji, Ondo East, Ondo West, and Idanre local government of Ondo State. And he is CSN INAH Michael. Good morning, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, sir. Today we want to look into how we can combat illicit drugs in the society. And to start with, what is substance abuse and what is illicit drugs?
Well, thank you once again for taking interest in NDLA, and on behalf of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Abuja and Akure, I want to appreciate the effort of KAFTAN TV for at least extending our effort beyond our realm. Yeah, beautifully you have used the word illicit. Illicit ordinarily means illegal. And when something is illegal, that means you are not supposed to touch it. You don't have business with it, you don't go there, you don't use it. So if a drug is illicit, it means you are not supposed to use that drug.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, depending on the angle you are coming from, a drug, by NDLA standards, the drugs we are concerned are those ones you are classified as drugs which, once taken, in any way, by whatever means, will, one, alter your brain chemistry, affect your feelings and perceptions, or modify the way your body functions. It doesn't matter how brief. So when you take any substance, whether it is natural or chemical, and that substance has the potency to alter your brain chemistry, to affect your feelings and perception, or to change the way your body normally would have functioned, we say that thing is a drug.
All right, sir. Sorry to cut you short. If someone take normal drugs like paracetamol, chloroquine, and what have you, it's when you take overdose, it reacts to, and here you are talking about substance that intoxicates, something that intoxicates or that alter brain chemistry. Overdose of normal drugs too can do that.
Yeah. Drug overdose may not be drug abuse. You say normal. You are modified it by saying normal. That means those are drugs misused. The person may not have abided by the doctor's prescription. Maybe, for instance, they take 2 every 6 hours. Maybe for one reason or the other, you decide to take 3. You don't want to bother yourself. And then it overreact. Because that's normal medication was prescribed, it can easily be attended to by still a medical expert. But like I said, in NDLA, we are looking at illicit drugs: cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine, opium. Even though tramadol is a little legal and a little illegal, depending on how you use it, we are looking at those drugs that, in the first place, Indian hemp, I don't see any medical challenge or ailment you have where a doctor will prescribe Indian hemp, botanically known or scientifically called cannabis sativa. So if you take a drug overdose and there is that biological response to the substance, it's understood. But it's not going to be as dangerous as when you take illicit drug. We are concerned here with illicit drug as a body.
All right. There is high risk in drugs abuse in Nigeria, and a statistic show that we have over 3 million suffering from drug use disorder. Why do we have this high number of statistic of Nigerian youth consuming drugs?
Well, I wouldn't know where you have your source anyway, but I agree that the pattern of drug abuse in Nigeria cause for concern for not only NDLA, but indeed any Nigerian, any human being. Because you may not be in drug abuse, the activity and inactivity of a drug user may affect you. And that is why I say it calls for concern. There are so many factors that gave room for this high surge in drug consumption.
Okay.
One, the power of advertisement. For instance, let us look at beer, or maybe small star. There's a way they say 1759. That's to say a minute to 6. And you need to see people in your age bracket being very active, being excited, being happy because they want to go and have contact with a bottle of stout. Now, that misleading aspect of advertisement gives somebody the impression that if you take small stout, you are likely to be happy. You are likely to achieve. And so people go in for it. That is advertisement. Before this time, you mentioned of artists taking drugs and people get carried, that it is likely. There is what we call in sociology significant others. If you have a mentor, everybody has somebody he believes in. If you have somebody who mentors you, whether directly or indirectly, you are likely to copy what that person is doing because you are likely to believe that it is that thing that he's doing that is behind his success. So people are going into drugs because they are artists who happen their significant others are into drugs. If, for instance, you are the reggae lover and you see Bob Marley on stage rapping Indian hymn, chances are that Bob Marley is able to compose reggae song display because of Indian hymn, which is wrong. So that is the power or the influence of other. Another thing is that people are into drugs for what we call enhancement, performance enhancement. Some people don't have that self-confidence in themselves to actually do what they want to do. So they take drugs to get courage, to get that fit, to be smart and all of that. Then there is also family backgrounds. Some people are coming from broken homes where you are 2, 3, your father and your mother are no longer together, and you are being parented by one. Unfortunately, maybe the person is into drug, and he does not see anything wrong. And there's another very, very, very powerful influence, what we call peer pressure. You have your friends, whether in the neighborhood, in the school, in the market. You are likely to do the things you do if you want to keep the company. If, for instance, now you are the religious type, and Ulu, who is your friend, is the alcoholic, and anytime he asks you for a joint, you decline. The next time you come there in a discussion, when you come, they change the topic, they make you feel miserable. But because you want to keep that company, you say, okay, don't worry. You will join because you want to belong. So peer influence can also cause drug. There's also the problem of availability. I tell my audience that there is no dog that will go for a non-existing bone. Yes. Wherever there is availability of drug, for instance, in those states where we have a lot of forests that governments say they are reserved, they offer opportunity for these illicit farmers to go and cultivate their drug. If you go to Enugu and Imo State where there is no drug, there is no virgin forest, of course you won't have that opportunity. So the availability of idle land, so to say, makes it conducive, for instance, Indian cultivation. And it has been really taxing us. Although we shall go there, virtually every year, we go into the trenches 1,000,000 times to destroy these farms at various stages. Various stages. And then, of course, we have the legal system. It takes a lot of time to secure conviction in court, even with the amount of exhibit, the suspect is there and all that. The fire brigade of proof beyond reasonable doubt. You can have a case linger 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And a lot and lot and lot of that. And there's also what we call youthful exuberance. Between the ages of 15 to 20, the young man is full of activity. He wants to experiment. Of course, a man at 45 and above will have other things to occupy himself, but the young man wants to experiment. So that curiosity makes them to experiment with drugs. They have a lot of time. And of course, some of us are not fully engaged. They say, how do they put it? There's a way they put it, whether when there is a vacuum, something must come and fill that vacuum. So when a young man is there and there's nothing engaging in his time, chances are that he will want to engage himself with drug.
All right, so what are the measures your organization have been trying to put up or put in place to combat drug abuse? And not to forget the fact that we have a whole lot of peddlers too outside.
What you are doing is one of them. We go to televisions, we go to radio, we go to schools, we go to mosques, we go to churches, we go to marketplaces to educate people on the dangers of drug and drug abuse. By tomorrow 1 a.m., myself and my officer will be having an enlightenment program in a school. That is what we call drug demand reduction. Now we call it War Against Drug Abuse, WADA. Essentially, that one is meant to identify SWOT targets, educate them, enlighten them, to be equipped with information to be able to resist any negative offer that drug was intended to offer them. In case of people coming to tell them the good about drug, we feel that if we enlighten them at a tender age enough, they will have been mentally equipped to, on their own, say no to drug. So we go to wherever human beings reside to educate, enlighten, sensitize people on the ills and dangers of drug. That is on drug demand reduction. Just like we say, the state commander was in radio or television a day or two ago. Apart from that, we partner with other agencies. Okay. But that is, like I say, on drug demand reduction. Then we go to local government. That's what we call stakeholder. We go to local government, we go to palaces, we discuss with the chiefs so that when they have their local meetings, the chiefs and traditional rulers, because their subjects see them as significant orders, they will listen to them. And of course, we partner with NYSC. We have every year, the NYSC puts coppers to us, under us, for 1 full year. We train them, we educate them, and they go out to their primary assignment and pass out. That is, like I said, drug demand reduction. Then we have what we call supply reduction. Okay. Supply reduction means, this one I'm telling you is about, the drug demand reduction is about people who are users, basically users. Then in supply reduction, we go after the merchant. Whether you are planting, whether you are producing, whether you are storing, whether you are trafficking, we source our information, process it to intelligence, we arrest you. When we arrest you, we take you to federal government, high court, arrest you, and we come. Of course, we are give you opportunity to defend yourself. If at the end of the day, we win, of course, you can go and serve a jail term. If you go to Akure now, we open our cell, you have hundreds of them with different charges. So that's what we've been doing so far.
All right, so, drugs these days is now fashionable among youths because they've seen a whole lot of celebrities do drugs either in their video, in their music video, and many tends to do what their role model is doing. And sometimes at the absence of drugs or what they can smoke, some people engage in either smoking of septic tank, some spirits, just to make themselves high or intoxicate themselves. What measures do you think you can put in place to combat this also? Don't forget, all these things are what they can get at low budget.
Yeah, thank you. Luckily for you and I, yesterday, I don't know if I can flash the job. Yesterday we have a topic where I to tell you that NDLA is always ahead of the problem. Yesterday we have a topic on non-conventional drug. I don't know whether it is conventional for me to flash it there. That's the topic there. That lecture essentially covers drugs that were not legally documented by any legislature, but that has posed a threat to health in society. Like you mentioned them, there are quite a number of them. For obvious reasons, it is unprofessional for me to roll them out. But there are so many reasons why people are going for them. One, that we have been very persistent in launching offensive on the drug cartel that the users cannot get access to conventional drugs. So they have now devised a means of going for drugs that have not been identified or documented as conventionally regulated drugs, but which may produce almost the same effects as the ones that are regulated. They're going for them. Whether they are having the real effects or not, nobody really knows. But we have reports that they are also being abused. But our handicap here is that we are a formal body. You cannot do anything beyond the law. So throughout the Federation, NDLA have proposed bills at different stages where we can secure local legislation to enable us combat these unconventional drugs.
All right. Some people do say when they take cannabis, it relieves them of stress. And even though there is no medical backends to this, but if at all they find joy in it, can't the government just bring out a law to regulate how they take this and then generate some IGR from it?
What? Like I say, we are a government people. Whatever we do is by law. Don't forget, the NDLA is not a local thing. It's a United Nations directive. So if United Nations, which I believe is the highest lawmaking organ in the entire world, in her own wisdom, feel cannabis, which we locally call Indian hemp, is not ideal for human health, I think until we find a law to the contrary, we are supposed to maintain the standard that cannabis sativa is not ideal for human health. Like I said when we started, I have not come by any medical doctor so far recommending cannabis sativa for any cure. So it is illegal.
All right, thank you, sir. There's this popular saying, without abuse, there is no addiction. So how can we put a stop to abuse so that we won't get people addicted to taking drugs?
By what we are doing, by enlightenment. You see, the thing is that they say habits die hard. What we need are people like you now must be persistent on this message to get people to know that it is not only NDLA. If other people now, if for instance now you have people who follow you, who identify you by the virtue of the fact that you are in the media, they like you. If people like you will continue to tailor this message that drug abuse is a bad one, of course, one day we will get there. We are not relenting any effort. Basically, what we need is information. Why are people scared of AIDS? Because they don't want to die. And they believe that once you have AIDS, you will die. We will keep on preaching this message until we get to a point where they will believe on the dangers of drugs, the way they believe in HIV/AIDS. What about this COVID-19? Nobody was going out. Nobody was traveling. Nobody was shaking. Even in the church where we used to shake, as a Catholic, where we used to shake, nobody was shaking. Because everybody wants to remain alive. So definitely, the people who take drugs don't want to die. So if we can pass this message to the point where we make them get convinced that taking drugs is synonymous to death, they will stop. And we will soon get there.
All right. How can we bring people that are addicted to drugs out of their addiction?
We have that already in Akure. We have a counseling department where your loved ones will bring you. When they bring you, we take your biodata, we look at the drug you abuse, how you get in contact with the drug, how long you've abused the drug, and all of that. Then depending on your level of involvement with the drug, and depending on your intoxication level, we decide a duration for you. It could be as short as 1 month, and it could be as long as 6 months. Within that period, we detoxify you. That's to say, we remove the poisonous deposit in your system. We cancel you. We divert your attention. Every evening you come out for sport, we train you on other skills, computer. Like when I was in Kaduna, we have a full-fledged computer room where you bring out the client, you go, you open the nets, they play. Young men wants to be on the net. By the time they stay there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 6 weeks, they forget the drugs. Most of them leave and they never come back to drugs. Of course, a few will come back, but we'll be recording success. Commendable one for that matter.
All right, there is a bill being said it will be forwarded to the House of Assembly that is for people, newly couples that are, people that are about to wed. They must go through drug tests. People going to school, couples going for orientation camp, and even those people that want to take government jobs, that they must have a test of drugs. Can you shed more light on this and the stage the bill is presently?
Yeah, just like you say, very, very soon, virtually whatever you want to do, you must have NDLA clearance. For instance, now you cannot travel out of this country without having an NDLA clearance. That we have attained close to 100%.
Just like having your yellow card before you can leave the country too.
So very soon now, before you get admission to a tertiary institution, you must have been cleared by NDLA, or even into secondary school, marriages, and in fact, some churches, even without a bill, some churches on their own, they will not join you until NDLA has certified that you are not a drug addict. Well, the level it has gone at the legislative chambers, I wouldn't know, because it is being handled at the upper level than me. But I can get back to you later, but I assure you we are making success.
All right, thank you so much. And let me take your advice for parents at home. How can parents easily spot if their children or what is into drugs, and what is your advice for them?
I told parents, the most important thing is that you should look at your child as your investment, as your extension. I told parents to always run surprise scan in their children's apartment. What do I mean by surprise scan? Your child is in a boarding school. He comes in a weekend. He or she has his own apartment. While the child is away, get to his or her room, check his or her luggage, check his or her backpack, lift the phone under the bed, everything, check. If on the course of checking, you discover what we call paraphernalia, that's to say, things that can link to drug, maybe Rezla, lighters, matches, perfume, chewing gum, tom-tom.
Anything that can take away the smell.
And of course, a direct drug. Chances are that your child is into drug. Your child is into drug where he is. If he comes home, don't bully him. Do as if you have not discovered anything. On a very calm, loving parental interaction with a child, let the child know that that track he or she is taking is a wrong one. Unfortunately, we are so married and glued to our jobs that we show little or no concern to our children. So for parents at home, my advice is that they should run consistent or persistent scan, that's to say checks on their children. Sometimes even, apart from checking his apartment, his countenance, behavior, upkeep. Your child that used to be very, very neat suddenly become upkeep. He doesn't care. He has bushy, he has tata, he doesn't care. And he kept changing friends. Something is wrong. You must be able to ask questions. You child that you keep on paying school fee, you buy books, is well taken care of. His performance in school are suddenly changing. Nothing in the home has happened. What is it? Chances are that He's not been paying attention to his studies because of drug, because of change of friends and all of that. If you put a close watch on your child, you must know, because drugs will not hide. They must show.
All right, thank you so much. In 10 seconds, what is your parting word?
My parting word is that this is a collective mission. Security is everybody's duty. You may not be in drugs, but your neighbor's son who is in drugs may destroy your own. So it must be collective. Together, we can win this war.
All right, thank you so much, CSN and Michael.
You're welcome.
We've had it all from the NDLEA, and they have told us how they are combating illicit drugs and reason why we must ensure that our children in our wards are not doing drugs. I am Bidemi Moses, and I will see you some other time. Bye.